I explained to my professors at UC Berkeley, I want to study this phenomenon that doctors can't explain and that no one has any hypotheses for. And they said, well, what do you mean you want to study something that no one's studying? We can't really do that. I said, there are 1,000 peer-reviewed medical journal articles about this phenomenon, and I just want to take this research deeper. And as soon as she saw that, she's like, oh, okay, so you're not like the first. And I said, no. One thing I would say is that not everyone wants to be a radical remission survivor. Not everyone reads my research and is like, yep, I'm going to do all those 10 things and I'm going to do them to the nth degree and I'm going to be here in 50 years. Sometimes people read my book and they're like, well, that sounds exhausting. No, thank you. And that's fine. These aren't my 10 factors. These are the factors that radical remission survivors use, and I'm just the researcher who observed them. I'm really the note taker, and I'm saying this is what this group of people does. Certainly, there's no obligation or pressure to behave like this unless you want to. I think there is no failure in death. The death of the body is just something we're absolutely all going to experience, whether it's at 13 from a car accident or 16 from cancer, like my dear friend, or if it's 95. We're all going to leave these bodies. So the idea of treating death as this failure, that's problematic. I don't think that view of death serves anyone. What's interesting about radical remission survivors is many of them, yes, they have strong reasons for living, right? Like that's one of the 10 key healing factors, is that radical remission survivors identify with why they want to keep living, not why they're afraid of death. That's different, right? That's why am I afraid of this unknown? But they focus on, why do I want to keep living? Maybe I love being with my friends and family. Maybe I really want to just write that novel, or I really want to travel to 50 countries on my list. If they're focusing on the activities that they love doing, whether it's caregiving for a child or climbing Mount Everest, they do focus on why they want to stay in a body. I think the people who really want to check out of these bodies and are just kind of done, it's rare for them to become radical remission survivors. I think for most people, once your soul says, I'm tired, this place called Earth is hard, I'd like to pull the ejection chute. Obviously, some people do that through suicide, which got its own sequelae of hard, difficult consequences to that. I used to work in hospice, and you could tell when people were like, I'm done. And as soon as they didn't put their life force towards maintaining a physical body, the life force just left their physical body. That wasn't a sad thing. They were ready to go, and so they let their life force leave their body. I know personally that their life force is now up in this other plane. But that's why working with hospice wasn't that hard for me, because it was so clear. Oh, you're in a very uncomfortable body. I can see why you want to leave this. Just relax and breathe and let your energy leave the body. There was a gentleman, front page of the New York Times 10 years ago, this man who was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and doctors said there's nothing we can do. And so he said, okay, fine, I'm going to move back to my homeland of Greece and spend my days watching Greek sunsets and drinking Greek wine and eating wonderful Greek food. And that's what he did. And then, of course, this article in the New York Times was from 10 years later. What did he do over there? He, first of all, accepted, I have stage 4 cancer. I'm going to die. That's a given. I surrendered to that. And in the meantime, since God will take me whenever he or she takes me, let me just have some fun. And I do see a lot of radical remission survivors who do that. They surrender to the concept of, I may check out of here pretty soon, but until I go, I'd like to enjoy myself, please. And something about that combination of surrendering to really accepting that death can happen any day. It might happen next week for me. I don't mean to sound flippant, but the people that I study who fall in this category really do get sort of flippant about it. They're like, yep, well, doc said I was going to die, and so I believed him, and off I went to Greece. And they get to this surrender and acceptance of death, I think, for their whole body and their whole energy system to take a deep breath and move freely. When we talk about Chinese medicine practitioners or Ayurvedic practitioners about moving qi and making sure that the prana doesn't get stuck anywhere and that there aren't any log jams of qi or prana, there's got to be some major unblocking of qi that happens when someone simultaneously says, yes, I hear you, I believe you, I'm going to die any day. And also, I'm just going to have fun. There's something about that emotional state that is so rare, it's hard to achieve. But I have interviewed quite a number of people who got to that state of complete surrender to death and complete appreciation for the remaining days that they have, however many that may be. And there's something magical that happens with their bloodstream and their immune system. And honestly, I think that they're just fully out of the stress response. I think that cortisol just fully leaves the building and inflows oxytocin and relaxin and endorphins. when you're not worried about anything because you're going to die in a week and you're watching the Greek sunset, eating this Greek salad, walking a mile to the market, that's number one, a very healthy lifestyle. And number two, your emotional state that you're in. It's sort of like being in that state of post-meditation all the time. I'm a regular meditator and I love being in meditation. It can get very, very powerful, but I also love that first hour after meditation where I'm washing the dishes and I'm just happy to wash the dishes. Or I'm cleaning up the house and I'm happy to be cleaning up the house. And that state doesn't always last too long, but it's lovely. And I envisioned, this man who lived to Greece, assuming he was going to die. I think he was in that state all day, every day. And I think that's probably a very healing state to live in. I think scientifically we know that, right? Oxytocin has been shown in petri dishes to reduce the number of breast and ovarian cancer cells. There is power in these hormones. There's healing power in it. Love is such a powerful word. I think it encompasses so many other words. I think that the biochemical state that your body is in when you're feeling love is similar to when you're feeling gratitude, is similar to when you're laughing, is similar to when you're crying happy tears, is similar to when you're feeling like you want to help someone in need. All the other 7, I would call that stress reduction. I think because I came to this research as a counselor, trained in clinical social work, I was looking for the nuances of emotion and looking for the nuances of stress reduction. One of the 10 common healing factors for my research is increasing positive emotions, and a different one is increasing your social support. Learning how to receive help from others and how to increase your social support, your love and support from friends and family. That is a skill set. And I've seen cancer patients who work on their own happiness. They go to their yoga class, watch their comedy videos, pet the cat, but they stay isolated and they say, I'm going to do this myself and I'm not going to tell anyone what I have. I'm just going to tough this out myself. And by doing that, they are actually cutting themselves off a powerful source of healing, which is the support from family and friends. That's not to say that you need to shout from the rooftops your diagnosis, but telling a few key people and allowing them to support and help you through that process has been shown to be incredibly healing. Loneliness can cause you to die twice quickly when you have cancer, and having a strong social network can help you live twice as long. And I'm not just throwing those words out, those are actual studies that have been done. It's incredibly powerful, this idea of love and all the different things it encompasses. And going through loss and grief, if you were to lose love, lose that partnership, we see that with broken heart syndrome. Widows whose partners had heart attacks, they're 2 times as likely to die in the next 2 years. They call that broken heart syndrome. I think what that shows me, and certainly informed my research and allowed me to observe what these people were doing and not be judgmental or skeptical. How could so much of their healing be mental, emotional? I think a medical doctor who hadn't been trained in counseling probably would have been more skeptical about what they were hearing in the interviews that I was conducting. But what I was hearing was, it's emotional. It's so emotional. So much of this is about dealing with the emotions of fear, the emotions of love, the emotions of feeling like you're a burden, the emotions of spirituality and intuition. So much of a radical remission is mental emotional. If you're saying 7 out of 10 are mental emotional, that's 70% of the healing job is mental emotional. To me, it just comes down to the absolute fact that the mind and body are 100% connected, and science knows that. And we've known that for over 50 years. So the 10 common factors that I found among radical remission survivors are 3 physical ones: radically changing your diet, taking herbs and supplements. They're all taking different ones, and daily exercise or movement. And then the other 7 are mental, emotional, spiritual. 3 of those 7 I call the foundational ones, because if you put them in place first, it's easier to do all the others. And that's figuring out your strong reasons for living, increasing your social support network, and getting to a place of empowerment, of not feeling helpless, but feeling like you can do something to contribute to your healing journey. And then the last 4 are, in no particular order, increasing positive emotions, releasing suppressed emotions, that's anything you're holding on to, grief, sadness, fear, etc. Developing your intuition, which is an interesting topic always. And then deepening your spiritual connection practice, whatever that may be. And that could include a secular practice such as gardening, running, or meditation.